Hi everybody. So I wanted to make this video to just go over last night's homework with you guys, especially because I know a few students had expressed that they were still feeling a little bit confused on this. So hopefully after I go over it, you feel a little bit better. Excuse my voice. I am currently sick, so I've lost my voice a little bit, but I'm going to do my best here. As you guys can see, my grids have shrunk, but I'm still going to show you what it's going to look like, and I'm going to show you the table for each of these. I don't unfortunately have the graphing calculator on my iPad, which is what I'm writing on right now, but I am going to use a platform called Desmos, which basically will show you guys the same thing. So for last night's homework and with graphing quadratics in general, you guys really can fully rely on the calculator for these. So as long as you know the steps on how to put a function in the calculator and go to the graph and go to the table, no one should have any issues. So what I want to do, if you think you need it, I'm sure some of you already have it down, but if you do not, I want you to take this time to kind of write on the side of your paper or on the back of your paper the steps on how to put a function in the graph. If you know how to, you don't have to write this, but I encourage you all to kind of follow along with me while I write this, and feel free to pause this video if you need a little bit more time to write this all down. So over here on the side, okay, so to graph a function in the, I'm going to abbreviate here, in the calculator. I'm just going to write calc. Okay, so step one, you're going to click on y equals. I'm just putting them in air quotes. Y equals, that's in the upper left-hand corner of your calculator. Once you're in your y equals, you want to make sure everything is cleared. So there's a whole list. It's y1, y2, y3. If there's anything in there, make sure you clear them all, and you want to write your function in y1. So then you're going to write the function, or type the function out. So in our case, the first one we would be doing is this. So you would be putting x squared minus 4 into the calculator. Once you have it typed out and it looks exactly like the function, you're going to click on graph. I'm actually going to write this. Click graph. That is in the upper right-hand corner. You should all know where that is. It's good just to get a visual so you have an idea of what the graph should look like. I know that some people have their calculators in the mode where it's a split screen. If you like that, you can feel free to keep that. If you are not in that mode and you want to stay in the regular mode, that's fine as well. Personally, I like to see the full graph and the full table separately, but that's just up to me. It's a little hard to explain. I think some of you in class know how to change the mode. So if one of your classmates wants to change it, maybe you guys can help each other. If not, you could just wait for me to get back next week. Okay, and then once you click graph, after you see what the picture looks like, you're going to click second and then graph. So two separate things, first, second, and then graph. That way you get the table. And then once you're inside of the table, so in the table, you're going to look for the rainbow, I call it. Now, if finding the rainbow is difficult for you, you don't even really need to find it. All you need to do is just start plotting points or writing down points that you know will fit on your graph. I know that in this picture, my whole grid here got shrunk, but I'm pretty sure it was only going up, left, right, and down by 10. So if there's a point in the table that goes past 10, like 12, 15, whatever, you're not going to be able to graph that anyway, so there's no point in writing it down or trying to plot it. So just look for whole numbers, unless, of course, we end up having a decimal, but look for whole numbers that fit on your graph. So now I'm going to do this. Now, again, I'm going to use Desmos because you don't have the graphing calculator. This is what you guys will do. I'm going to do it separately. I already did this first one. So in here, I'm going to zoom out so you guys can see it. This was x squared minus 4. This is what it looked like. And this is what my table over here looked like. Now, as I can see, I'm starting to see a rainbow. Unfortunately, I cannot click on this or draw pictures. You can't see. But 0, negative 4 is our vertex because everything around it, you see the negative 3, 0, 0, 5. There would be a 5 if we kept going up. Unfortunately, I can't scroll on here. But once you get to 4, 12 doesn't fit on our graph, so there's no need to write that. So I'm going to write down a table. You always want to write down your table next to my graph so that you have points that you're going to graph. So I'm going to kind of copy this down. Hopefully, if you did it yourself on your calculator, you would have seen the same points. So you always start with x, y. In our case, we went from what would fit would be -3 to +3. That doesn't always happen, but in our case it did. And our points were 5, -3, -4. Oh no, I'm putting this in the wrong spot. I'm sorry. 5, 0. My bad. -3, -4, -3 again, 0, and 5. And here's the rainbow. So here's your vertex because it's in the middle of the rainbow. -3 matches with -3. 0 matches with 0. 5 matches with 5. It's like a sideways rainbow. Okay, so those would be the points that you would graph. And I think you all know how to plot points. So all these would fit and you would get a nice curve. It should look like this. It opens upwards because our A is 1. It's positive and it just opens up. So it should look something like this. So you would graph that. So feel free, if you did not do last night's homework, to pause at this time. You can click pause on the video, or whoever's, Miss Virginia, anyone who's there, can click pause. And you guys could graph these points if you haven't done so yet. Okay, I'm going to move now on to number 2. Same idea here. Okay, I'm going to plot this using my Desmos again, so bear with me. Okay, so I'm going to clear this. I'm going to put in, it was 2x squared, excuse me, minus 4x plus 1. Okay, so this is what we have here. It's kind of a skinny one. You should have learned yesterday in class that when your A is greater than 1, if it's 2, 3, 4, 5, any number greater than 1 is going to become narrower, which seems ironic because usually when you think, oh, it's bigger, it should be bigger, but it's actually the opposite. When it's a fraction, it's wider. So this is a little bit skinnier than our last one. I'm going to see if I can get a table here. Okay, I'm going to add a couple more points to my table. See if I see, oh, that's not what I meant to do. Okay, so here, this is a nice table for us. All right, so I do already see the rainbow. Maybe you can see it yourself. You want to look for the vertex, which would be in the middle, and then you would see some numbers that start matching up. Now, 17 and 17 are way too big for a graph. I'm not even going to include those in my table. I'm only going to go from -1 to +3 because we can fit 7, 1, -1, 1, and 7 all on our graph. So I'm going to copy that down. So you're literally, there's no math involved. You guys are literally just using your calculator and copying. So we have -1, 7, 0, 1, 1, -1, 2, 1, 3, and 7. Here is my vertex. Look for the rainbow. So 1 matches with 1, 7 matches with 7, and it would keep going and going. But again, we can't fit those points on the graph. So again, at this time, I want you could pause this video, write down your table if you didn't do so already, and go ahead and plot these points. Make sure always, always, always arrows, and hopefully you can all say this out loud, label. So make sure you put your arrows and you label. That means you put this function, you write it somewhere on your graph. And again, this is a positive leading coefficient. So is this one. This is just a 1 positive number. So they both should open upward. Remember the smiley face? It opens upward when it's positive. A positive person smiles. Okay. And last but not least, here I'm already seeing a leading coefficient of -1. So they're negative, so they're not smiling. So this should be upside down, opening downward. Let's double check. We're going to put this in our Desmos or in your calculator. When you're doing these, I want to make sure you're always clearing your table, your Y1s every time you do this. Oh, what's happening here? Sorry, guys. Okay, so this was negative. If I can find negative on this thing. I don't think that works. Oh, maybe it does. All right, let's see. I don't use this very often, so bear with me here. All right, this looks about right. So it's opening downward. Let's get a table in here. All right. I don't really see a... You know what? I probably need some negatives in here. Okay, give me a second. I'm going to adjust these. You guys can scroll, I cannot, so it's a little bit harder for me. Let's go. -8. Nope, too big. Negative. Nope. Okay, this is what we're going to do. -6, -5, -4, negative. So what you can do on your calculator right now is you could scroll. Look for numbers that will fit on your graph. So right now I'm have pretty decent numbers here. -9, -2, 3, 6, 7, 6. All right, I'm going to keep going. This is going to be a big table. 0, 1, 2. I think that's about it. I see the rainbow. You see the numbers are repeating. -9, -9, -2, -2, 3, 3, 6, 6, and then 7, -2. Here, right in the middle, is our vertex. So this had a decent amount of points here. So this is going to be a long table for us to graph. So just make sure you get your table in. So you're going to do X, Y. I'm going to fill in all those points that I can fit. -6, -9, -5, -2, -4, +3, -3, 6, -2, 7, -1, 6. Sorry, there's a lot here. 0, 3. I'm going quickly, but you don't need to rush. I will give you plenty of time. You could pause the video and you can write all these down. Okay? And if you haven't had the chance yet to do this yourself, I know you're watching the video, you do want to make sure you go into the calculator yourself, into your y equals, and you type this in. You want to make sure you're getting the same table as me. Because if you're not, you're having a calculator problem, and we want to just make sure we get rid of any of those issues now before we move on to some more stuff. So again, this was the last one on your homework. I can't graph it for you, so please pause the video and make sure that everyone in class has a moment to just plot these points on the graph. All right, everybody. Hopefully this helped you a little bit. I'm really sorry that I can't be with you guys this week. I'm going to do my best with these videos, and I hope that they help and get you through the rest of the week. And if you're feeling stressed or you're not understanding something, do not worry. We will catch up as a group together. All right. Bye, everyone.